Well, hello everyone. I'm Jill Bloom, publisher of Walls and Ceilings, and I'm here today with our editors, John Wyatt and associate editor, Hannah Belloli. And we're so honored to be here today with Mike Merrill, who's the co-founder of AboutTime Technologies out of Utah. So Mike, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Jill, John, and Hannah for having me this morning. Looking forward to the discussion today.
And John, I'll kick it off with you.
Well, thank you so much, Jill, and good morning to everyone watching. And Mike, thanks so much for joining us. We know you're mountain time there out in Utah, so it's top of the morning for you. But let's kick things off, dude. Tell us a little about Time and I believe WorkMax. Are those two separate companies, or is the WorkMax software you guys provide? Let's get into that.
Yeah, so AboutTime Technologies was founded in 2003 by our CEO, Ryan Remkus, and myself, and Russell Hansen, and Corey Tanner. So the four of us got together to basically solve the live field data issue that construction has, giving visibility to contractors on a daily basis in real time. And essentially, we just focus on the construction industry to a great degree because that's my background. I was a self-performing general contractor for many years. And WorkMax is our cloud-based solution that we came out with several years back. And that's primarily what we sell today.
So that's curious, though. I mean, a guy in construction that gets into basically, the software and all that. Have you always been into computers, or how did you segue into that?
So I've always been technical leaning a little bit, but primarily was just a blue collar guy, bootstrapped a business, from my early 20s, and just grew it to the point where live information, real-time data was more and more critical. And so our CEO, Ryan, was talking with me regularly. We worked together in construction on some projects, and we were always comparing notes and kind of complaining to each other about, timesheets and time cards and not knowing where you're at all the time and not having enough eyeballs in the field. And everything was, 2-3 weeks old on the data. And so finally, Ryan brought a friend of his in. They were childhood friends. That was a computer programmer, and they started actually trying to solve this and write something. Originally it was on the old Palm Pilot, so that's going way back.
So Mike, so how have you seen construction technology change over the past 10 years? And also, how have you seen it change since the beginning of COVID?
Yeah, great questions. Lots of changes, as everybody is aware. I mean, I mentioned Palm Pilots. There was a segue into BlackBerry there for a few years, so that was a big change. The old Nextel Direct Connect radio walkie-talkies were a really, really critical tool in a lot of construction projects. And so from there, really going back about 10 years, iPhone and Android came onto the scene. And so we started having, internet connectivity, and then apps started coming out. So those things were really instrumental in us having a launch pad to really get into contractors' hands. And so I, starting there to today, with web-based cloud technology, we have real-time data that we can push up to the cloud. People have visibility. Technology can, in many cases, help fill that gap between, having to hire 2 more people or 3 more people. We just have real-time information right at our fingertips, so we can make actionable decisions quickly. So that's how it's changed. But as far as COVID, I know, again, for the WorkMax solution, when employees clock in, we can launch a real-time COVID safety questionnaire, so they can take a survey. If they're feeling any symptoms, safety managers or HR or the management team, superintendents, foremen can be immediately alerted to this issue. Visibility, who's on that project, who else needs to possibly go get tested. These are technologies that are now available because of those great advancements in mobility and live job site information.
So Mike, your live field data usage report, I guess traditionally people would think this is just something that would benefit larger companies, but my guess is it also benefits the small companies, correct?
Yeah,
Before
you're
you get
exactly
into that though, real quick, why don't you explain what the live field data actually means?
So live field data means instant visibility, actionable information flowing throughout the organization. So management from their desk knows what's going on the job site, having real-time visibility. Where are we at? What's going on? Who's there? What are they doing? Who's not there, possibly? Are we ahead of schedule or are we behind? Are we over budget or are we under? Are we hitting overtime on Thursday? Or are we going to be just fine and normal? Are we working weekends? So all of that data, because it's live and real time and shared throughout the enterprise with a solution like WorkMax, business owners can make real time decisions that are crucial to not only profitability, but staying on schedule, under budget, and getting our projects done on time.
So, Mike, what changes for a contractor when they collect and use live data?
I mean, the biggest thing, and I hear this from customers all the time, of course, nowadays we're not going to too many trade shows, but historically we go to a lot, probably 12.5 or more per year. And so we get a lot of chance to interact, not only with prospects and booth visitors, but lots of customers come by to these conferences. And the things that we're hearing is that accuracy that they have is allowing them to make decisions on how many people do we need, which job sites are struggling, which ones are overmanned, where's my equipment, do I need more, are we renting equipment that's sitting, just so many things that you just can't do without these tools in your hand and without live information.
Mm-hmm. So how does someone implement that live data collection, and what are some of like those major benefits of that?
So what we have is mobile applications that install natively on Android and iOS devices, and then we also have web connectivity. And so those apps work offline, so you don't have to have a signal or a connection if you're working on a tunnel or in a mine or up in a canyon, or even in New York City downtown around tall buildings. If you don't have a signal, no problem. So employees are able to collect real-time data, and that data is then streamed to the cloud. And then ultimately, and this is really kind of the prize at the bottom of the Cracker Jack box, we have integrations with over 100 third-party ERP, payroll, job costs, and accounting systems, virtually all of them in construction and outside of construction, everything from QuickBooks all the way up to SAP and Oracle, Microsoft Dynamics. So because of that integration, we're able to feed all of that data we've collected into payroll and job costs, even on a daily basis. So companies just know where they're at all the time. They're managing their business through a windshield and not a rear view mirror. They can see what's right in front of them all the time.
Mike, obviously safety has always been a big concern on any job site. Now with COVID-19, that just adds another layer to basically the responsibilities that contractors need to face. So how can live field data help our readers, that are looking to learn about this? How can that keep their workers and the job site safer?
Great question. So for example, once COVID really started hitting in February, March, we started having customers say, hey, we love your facial recognition technology on the device. However, a foreman is the one managing that iPad on the job site. We don't want people handing devices around and everybody touching the device just for cleanliness and safety. And so within a few weeks, we actually wrote, tested, and deployed to the market the ability for the camera on the device to switch to the front-facing camera. So now the foreman can put his PIN number in as a manager, check a box on which employee, and then snap their biometric profile to confirm they're logging time in behalf of this employee. Now they don't have to touch the device. So we're keeping job sites cleaner, safer. We're allowing the application to take place in its environment without the spreading of germs or COVID potentially.
Certainly, yeah, the transference of germs, that's a big job site concern, obviously. So what are you hearing from your customers about basically what their biggest concerns are on the job site?
So it's obviously changed. I mean, social distancing is hard to do when you're, lifting a wall or, putting up drywall, putting on ceilings or wall panels. So there's certainly some adaptations. What we're hearing is companies are doing pretty well to be aware of that. Awarenesses are raised. What we're also seeing is, and we're hearing in the marketplace, and this is virtually nationwide, companies they're still behind. They still have a backlog. They still have a lot of work to do. So this really hasn't impacted their busyness. It's just they're having to complete jobs with less resources in some cases.
So Mike, once you get a customer who makes the switch and they start using WorkMax, what has been the biggest benefit that you have seen in their company?
So what we're hearing is payroll is instantly reduced in most cases. So the overage, the overestimating, the overtime, those are the first hours to go is overtime. If people are over-reporting time and they're accruing overtime on Wednesday afternoon or Thursday by lunch, well, now that's not happening maybe till Friday or maybe not at all. So the first thing is a reduction in payroll. The second thing is in the office. I was just reading a customer case study the other day. They were spending 76 hours per week processing payroll for their 200 employees. So total of 76 hours. That was reduced to 4. So, I mean, we gave them 2 weeks of new time and availability for somebody immediately.
Yeah. So I'm sure that because construction for a long time had nothing to do with technology, there are some people who are a little bit weary about making that switch. So what is the biggest piece of advice that you can give to a contractor who is afraid to take that step towards relying or using construction technology?
Yeah, same thing, just reviewing some case studies and some testimonials. And we had one contractor that said, I will never, ever go back to paper now that I've made that switch. And I wish I would have done this sooner. It's one of those things, it's like an ERP or an accounting system. That's a pretty big switch. That's changing the whole engine out on the vehicle. What we are is we are a major upgrade that gets more horsepower to the engine. So our product is basically, it's just a better tool, like a DeWalt drill versus a Phillips screwdriver. It's just built to perform better, more efficiently, and get better, higher quality work done quicker. And so we're eliminating waste. We're giving real-time accuracy. One project, I was observing, we had a company using our product. We had a contractor who was paying his payroll through the product, and we had a customer who was being billed through the product. And when all was said and done, because that data was gathered in real time with GPS, affirming that employees are there, with facial recognition, knowing for sure these are the guys, the customer was billed exactly to the penny what was due to them. The contractor collected every dime that was due to him. Payroll was paid exactly to the penny. So it's a win-win-win when the WorkMax product is in place. Everybody wins. It's honest, it's accurate, and it's live field data in real time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mike, I kind of want to go off script here as we're wrapping things up, but you mentioned facial recognition technology. Now, this has been kind of controversial in some circles, in particular, I think, law enforcement, but are you finding any challenges with that technology in the construction industry? And are those kinks being ironed out?
So great question. On occasion, we run into companies that say, we want to trust but verify, but we really don't want to go to that degree, or we're in a union and, we have certain rules and, we're okay to pay them for 8 hours. We just want to verify, more from a job costing perspective. So we're allocating the hours to the right part of the project on the right phases and cost codes. So what we've done with our facial recognition technology is You can turn it off or disable it for any individual employee or for everybody. It does come with the solution, doesn't cost extra, it's just part of the offering. But if there's a challenge or if a company's not ready to utilize something like that, they can just disable it. They're still getting all of the benefits of real-time data. They're just not confirming 100% that there's no buddy punching or people aren't sharing. They're basically logging hours for somebody that maybe wasn't there.
Mhm.
Mike, you've certainly given us a great outline and great argument for how compelling this technology is. So, and thank you so much. Will you join us again in 6 months?
Would love to. That'd be fantastic.
I like to hear that. Jill, would you like to add anything before you sign us off?
You know what, I just want to say thank you again, Mike. I hope that all the contractors that are watching out there take the leap of faith if you haven't already jumped into some technology. And that's why we're here with Mike, just to help give you the vision to go ahead and do that. But thank you very much for your time today, Mike. I know how busy you are, and we're very grateful for that. And thank you again for everyone who's watching. If you need any information, please go to wconline.com. While you're there, make sure you sign up for our free digital edition and our e-newsletters, so you're always up to date with when we're going to be doing our next videos and interviews with great people like Mike. And please stay safe and healthy. We look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.
Thanks.